Hello and welcome to this morning's webinar, Cloud DMS, WKO, Social Media Guidelines. Maybe just a quick starter, WKO is the Austrian Chamber of Commerce, for those of you that aren't German speakers amongst us. My name is William Wallace and I'll be the moderator today. And I'm pleased to be able to welcome our two panelists online, Dr. Gerhard Lager, Director of WKO's eCenter, and Karl Mayerhofer, Fibersoft Managing Director. Just a quick brief outline of today's agenda before we get started. So first of all, Karl Mayerhofer will give us an outline of the benefits of Folio Cloud as a professional document management system. And then Dr. Lager will be talking about the WKO's social media guidelines and the role that Folio Cloud plays in that. And a quick pointer about the GoToWebinar format for those of you that aren't familiar with it. If at any point during the webinar you have any questions, then please don't hesitate to contact me via the questions or chat functions on the toolbar that hopefully you can see on your screen. And I'll collect these questions and pose them to our panelists at the end of the sessions. So if there are no questions at this initial stage, then I will hand over the control to our first speaker, Karl Mayerhofer. Just hand over control of the screen. Hello, Karl.
Hello. Can you hear me, Will?
Yep, that sounds good. And I can see the screen as well. Perfect.
Okay, great. All right, so hello everybody. It's a great pleasure for me to talk about cloud document management systems today. I would like to cover the following topics today. First of all, I would like to talk about the reasons why you would use a document management system in the cloud. So what are accelerators, what are inhibitors, and what is the best to choose and to select an appropriate provider to leverage document management systems in the cloud. And then I would introduce Folio Cloud as a document management system to you, which is our public cloud, the public cloud from Fibersoft, which can be used as a document management system. And then I would like to hand over to Mr. Lager, who will then give you best practice information about using Folio Cloud within the Austrian Federal Economic Chambers organization. So first of all, why would you use a document management system in the cloud? These are some slides from Forrester. Forrester is an international analyst group which does a lot of surveys regarding future IT technologies. And they did a survey about adopting software as a service solutions within companies. This is a survey of about 540 software decision makers in North America and Europe. So what are the major reasons why companies would use software as a service? And as you can see, the top reason is speed of implementation and deployment. And on number 4 is improved business agility. So these companies think about using software as a service because they want to get a solution very quickly and they want to implement such a solution for the line of business very fast and very quickly. And they want to be agile. They want to react very quickly to new situations in their business environment and in their business ecosystem, and that's why they think about using software as a service in the cloud. And number 2, as you can see, is the thought about lower overall costs. So why is that? If you look at at the cloud solution which provides software as a service, as Fabersoft does with Folio Cloud, that software as a service solution is available instantly and globally. You can use it anywhere, and if you register for an online account, you will have it instantly. You do not need to buy hardware, to buy software, to set up an internal project, to develop all the IT skills within your organization, to maintain the solution if you would do that on premise. Of course there are some significant advantages in terms of initial capital you would need to set up such a solution. So that's a major advantage, obviously, to do that. And as you can see in this survey showed that speed actually is already more important than the cost factor. This has changed a bit compared to surveys which they did before that. It's really about speed and about agility for the line of business. So, on the other hand, what are the inhibitors? So why are companies hesitating to use software as a service in the cloud? And the major concern, as you can see, is security. So the questions which companies ask are, can I trust the software as a service provider? Do I still have control over my data and my documents? Who has access in the cloud data centers to use my documents or read my documents? How do I get those documents out again if I want to do that? So these are the major concerns or inhibitors which companies need to consider when they want to move to a software as a service environment. And from our point of view, this needs to be, these concerns need to be addressed by doing independent software certificates, independent security certificates, and independent audits by third-party auditors like PricewaterhouseCoopers, for instance, as we did, which allows to show and to prove that the software as a service provider is very serious about security and about trust and about reliability for his software as a service environment. And I'll talk about that a bit later again. And the second reason, as you can see, are integration challenges. So companies think about if I would use a cloud document management system, how does this document management system then integrate with my existing applications? So for instance, with the mailing system, or with an archive, or with other systems which with an ERP system, for instance. And from our point of view, this needs to be addressed by using vendor and platform independent standards. And a very important standard here from our point of view is CMIS, the content management interoperability services, which are driven by the OASIS organization, and large vendors did already implement CMIS, and Fabersoft did also implement it for all the Fabersoft software products, including the cloud DMS Folio Cloud. So there is already a vendor and platform independent standard which could be used to integrate. And another one would be WebDAV. WEBDAV, WebDAV. It's not so sophisticated as CMIS, but it's supported by a lot of existing systems already. And WebDAV, for instance, allows to mount the Cloud DMS as a network drive in Windows Explorer, for instance, or in the Macintosh Finder, and then you would see the cloud as a network drive in your existing environment. And the nice thing here is that you could use your existing tools, and if they support saving a file to a path, you could then specify a network path in your tool, and you could save directly to the cloud out of the tool. So these are integration solutions which are quite useful already, and they're already here, so you could already use them. And of course, companies consider service levels. If they would like to benefit from all those advantages of a Cloud DMS, then it must be sure that that Cloud DMS is available all the time, so that there is appropriate reliability, and that it has significant performance, so that you can really work with that kind of Cloud DMS and you do not experience any difference as you would use it locally in your on-premise environment. And that, of course, has to do with internet quality, with bandwidth, and reliability to connect to that cloud service over the internet. And here there needs to be some consideration how you would set that up to have a reliable internet connection. Okay, so here is another slide from Forrest. It's a very interesting document. I can really recommend it to you. It's called The Changing Cloud Agenda, as you can see here. It's brand new, and it describes how you could implement document management systems and business-to-business collaboration processes in the cloud. As you can see on the left-hand side, there are different ways to leverage the cloud for your business processes. In particular, if you collaborate with external companies, with your business partners, here you can see what Forrester calls data collaboration. Company A has its own business process, probably implemented by using their on-premise environment in their internal IT infrastructure, and company B has the same, but they share particular data via the cloud, and that particular data can be accessed from both sides in their business processes. And the next level of B2B collaboration could be what they call document collaboration, where the documents are shared via the cloud, and this does already show how you would use a cloud document management system as a shared pool of documents to integrate with those business processes. And the highest level of process collaboration from the perspective of Forrester would be that you have a workflow or business process which actually runs in the cloud, and people from both sides access that business process directly in the cloud, so that both sides do not have the necessity to set up their own DMS and business process environment to handle such a business process. And the nice thing for us is that they also referenced Folio Cloud here, Microsoft's Cloud DMS, and the benefit, as you can see, is in particular that we can ensure the fulfillment of compliance requirements, which is a very important issue if you consider to use the cloud. you need traceability, you need to track business processes, and you need transparency if you collaborate via the cloud. And so you need the capabilities within the cloud DMS that you can fulfill those compliance requirements. So one word about Folio Cloud as a document management system. For those of you who are not familiar with Fabersoft, Fabersoft is a European software company and cloud provider with its headquarters in Linz in Austria. We have about 200 employees, and this is our headquarters here, as you can see. Our subsidiaries in Europe are in Austria, in Germany, Munich, Frankfurt, Berlin, and in Switzerland. And here you can see some of our offices. The one in Frankfurt at the airport in the Square building, and the other one at the Vienna Central Railway Station. Fabersoft always had a very strong focus on these three solution areas. Number one is content, records, and case management. So we always, for almost 25 years now, we have been dealing with content management solutions and document management solutions. Number two is collaboration. Collaboration in the form of social, informal collaboration, and on the other hand, using structured business processes based on workflow. And number three is agile business applications development, which means customizing company-specific business processes and business applications on top of our standard products. These are our business areas. We grew up, if you want, in the government space, which is still a very important business area for us, in particular in the German-speaking countries. We have quite large enterprise customers like Siemens or the Spar retailer company, and about 2 years ago we started to set up our cloud services as in a public cloud, the first one being Folio Cloud. This shows you that Fabersoft has some significant visibility already, in particular for large analyst groups like Gartner and Forrester. I did already show you the Forrester slides. Here is one from Gartner. It's part of the Enterprise Content Management Magic Quadrant 2011. That's a global survey for ECM vendors. And the nice thing for us is that Fabersoft is recognized by Gartner as a global enterprise content and document management vendor. Even more, Gartner recognizes that there are some players which will bring content to the cloud. This is a slide from a presentation at the Gartner PCC conference in Orlando, and it shows that Fabersoft is already recognized as a player which will move electronic document management to the cloud. So what is Folio Cloud? Folio Cloud is the European cloud document management system, which allows you to manage your digital content in the cloud and to implement business processes on top of the content management system. So first you need a solution to manage your content in a digital way. And based on that, you can then digitize your business processes. If you do have your electronic content, then it is much easier to implement business processes based on that digital content. And what you can see here, and I will show it in the demo later, is our so-called team rooms. A team room is a secure space, a secure workspace in the cloud to interact with colleagues and with business partners, and this is a secure, protected area where you could persist your digital content in the cloud. We have a very strong focus on security. Security on the infrastructure level means that there is strong authentication for all the people who try to access the cloud, even using digital identity. We do use encryption, of course, for the communication from the end user device to the cloud data center. And in the cloud data center we have all those security certificates like ISO 27001. We have the ISO 20000, ISAE 3402, which is which follows the SAS 70 Type 2 examination. And of course we do use encryption for persisting customer data and customer documents. On the application level, the team room itself is a very secure environment. You do only get access to such a team room if you are granted access, if you are invited to collaborate, and if you authenticate yourself in a very strong way. And authentication can even be based on so-called digital identities, which is a very important thing from our point of view. Standard cloud services typically rely on login with an email address and having a password for that. But we think that this is not secure enough for B2B collaboration. You need stronger authentication mechanisms if you collaborate with the business partners via the cloud. So that's why we support two-factor authentication, where you have a second factor like your mobile phone, which receives a mobile PIN or a push notification from an iOS or Android app. And that's why we support digital IDs for Germany, Austria and Switzerland. And the nice thing here is that this kind of security infrastructure, which is typically provided by government agencies, they can verify your identity, and this means that I can really trust the people with which I collaborate in the cloud, because it's verified that's really that really Karl Mayhofer is working in the cloud, and not somebody who maintains to be Karl Mayhofer. We do also support what we call data geographies or data locations. So we do launch our new data centers in Germany in the next couple of weeks, and this means that you can then select where you would like to store your data physically. You can choose on the team room level, you can choose where the team room should persist the data physically. And this allows you to guarantee that the data doesn't leave the country. And that's an important thing from our point of view, that you really know where your data is and where your documents are. And we also think that this is a very important compliance requirement. And compliance is supported in different ways. I do not want to go too much in detail here, but of course we do have auditing, we do have versioning, we do have a MOREC 2 certified records management. MOREC 2 is a European standard for records management, and these are important components to allow certified compliance within the cloud. So we do have very rich cloud features to support an electronic document management in the cloud. And of course, it's all about mobile support. We have all the apps, the iOS apps and Android apps, which allow you to access your content in the cloud on all those mobile devices. And the nice thing for us is also that we have some awards. Folio Cloud received a couple of awards already. For instance, the Innovationspreis in Germany, which was handed over at the CeBIT this year in Hanover, and Folio Cloud is the best document management system for the small and medium enterprises in Germany. Okay, and before I hand over to Mr. Lager, I have a couple of minutes maybe to show you how that works. And I would really like to use the example of the Austrian Economic Chambers to show you how that works. So I will move to my browser, and hopefully you can see my browser now. Does it work? Can you see my browser?
Yeah, I can see your browser perfectly, Kat.
Okay, fine. So this is the Folio Cloud homepage, and I will switch to English. Well, what I really want to show is a certain website which is called social media. Oops. This is a web page which we set up together with the Austrian Economic Chambers to invite companies, in particular in Austria, to invite Austrian companies to collaborate to develop those social media guidelines. This is in German, of course, and I apologize for that, but I can explain it, how it works. Here is a way to register as a member in a company to collaborate for developing those documents. And I can register for a new account if I didn't use Folio Cloud so far. But if I do already have an account, I can also use my existing account, and that's what I want to do here. This is my Fabersoft account. And if I click on next, then I can get access to those documents in the cloud. But first I have to authenticate myself. I can authenticate using email address and password, which we use for our freemium package primarily. I could also use my Facebook account for that, but even better is to use my company certificate to authenticate for access, or to use a digital ID. And in this case, I would really love to use my digital ID in Austria to get access to those documents. So I will enter my registered phone number, and I will add my signature password. And if I click on identify, the Austrian security infrastructure is used to verify my account, and as a second factor, I get a PIN code on my mobile phone. You can see that, you can't see that now, but I did already receive it. And if I confirm the authentication attempt by typing in that mobile 10, it's verified again, and now I get access to those documents in the cloud. And as you can see here, I'm logged in with my digital ID now, so everybody else can trust that it's really Karl Mayhofer who is logged on to the cloud now, because I'm logged in with my digital ID here. And now I can open this team room here, and this team room is really about the documents which are used to develop the social media guidelines for the Austrian Economic Chamber. And here, these are people who are already involved to develop those social media guidelines. And some of them have full control, others have change access, and some of them have only read access. So you can really define who has what kind of access right to collaborate here to develop these guidelines. And how would you collaborate? There is a very informal social way of collaboration, which you can see now. This is some kind of a chatter, as you know it probably from Facebook. But the nice thing about this communication is that it stays within that community. So it's guaranteed that only those people who are already registered, and some of them have a digital ID. For instance, Mr. Lager has a digital ID with his Austrian citizen card. So I really know I can trust those people, and the communication stays within that team room. And another way to use collaboration would be workflow. So if the social media guidelines do have a certain state, then I could simply attach a workflow like this one here and send it for approval across different organizations. That's a rather informal way to collaborate. And typically you have an informal phase where you try to generate mature working results, and if that working result has a certain maturity state, then you will send it into a formal process to get approval for that. That's the typical way to do it. So how would you work with documents in that team room? I can simply double-click that entry here, and this will open it in Word. I will switch to my screen to show you that. So you should see the document now here on the screen. This is the document, and it depends whether I have the right to change the document or not. So if I do have the right here, so I could even change the document here. And as you saw, it's quite easy to use that document because I can simply double-click it and it opens in Word, just as I would have it locally. And we use a browser plugin to do that. The browser plugin sets the lock in the cloud, downloads a temporary copy, and opens it in my local tool, which in my case is Word. So that's how you would use it, and as I said, you would also have the chance to use something like WebDAV. You should see my Explorer now, and here in the Explorer, in the Windows Explorer, you can see that I have a network drive which is Folio Cloud. And here I do have access to my team rooms as well, so I can see the social media guidelines here as well. I can see all the documents here as they are in my team room, and I can even double-click them here in the Explorer, so they open via WebDAV now, and they come from the cloud team room, so I could work locally. And if I close the document, it's automatically uploaded to the cloud again. So it's a seamless integration based on WebDAV, which is available for the Explorer. And you could also have what we call a synchronization, as you probably know it from Dropbox, for instance, where you could synchronize your documents and your data with a local directory automatically. And finally, and then I have to stop because the time is over, I want to show you that you do also have access on your mobile devices. So you should see my iPad now. This is the iPad. And for instance, I do have the Folio Cloud application here, the app on my iPad. You can see the team rooms. I do have access to the documents here on my iPad, and I could even open it here for instance, in Pages to work on that locally. And when I'm finished with the document, I could, for instance, again use a standard like WebDAV to upload that again to my team rooms. And you can see here I have the team rooms again, and I can upload that again to my team rooms. So that's what I would like to tell you about cloud document management system today, and I would like to hand over to Will again. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Without any further delay, I'll hand over to Dr. Lager, our second panelist. Dr. Lager, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Okay, you should now have control of the screen.
So, yes, and I hope that you can see the slides. Good morning, my name is Gerhard Lager from the Federal Austrian Economic Chamber. I'm head of the so-called E-Center, and just some slides about Chamber of Commerce. We represent the interests of the whole Austrian economy. We are not a company. We are also not an organization. There is a statute of law who build up our institution. We promote the economy and also try to communicate knowledge to our members. This is the saying of our president, Dr. Christoph Leitl. We are a quite old organization, coming from the time of the revolution, but we are not directly governed by the state. We are a self-governing body with legal control. There is a supervision from the government and also from the relevant minister. We represent 410,000 businesses in Austria, which is basically nearly the whole Austrian economy. There are some other chambers like the Chamber of Lawyers or Doctors, but we are the biggest body in Austria. As you can see, there is a membership by law through the Federal Economic Chamber, which is quite a difference to other private organizations, obviously, and we are a public body and regulated by statute. Just to give you a very short insight, we are not only a federal body, we are also quite localized. We are 9 chambers of commerce in the provinces, but also on the global level we are represented with 115 offices all over the world abroad, and there are also industrial classification, so we are quite complex organization, not easy to understand. This is again where we have our offices all over the world where you can contact us to get in contact with Austrian companies. I'm working here in the middle in the Secretariat General in a very small unit called E-Center. The goal of the E-Center is to monitor and develop policy for e-business, and I'm dealing with topics like e-invoicing, which getting more and more to the topic of e-procurement. We try to generate and monitor business-to-business standards with a body called Austria Pro, where we do, for instance, open standards for e-invoicing or e-procurement. Another topic where we are active is e-government and also e-security. It's not what I mean IT security. E-security is giving it not only on the technical side, but also on the legal and policy side, security to our members and trust in the IT infrastructure, like for instance in the cloud, and to give some advice to our members, like doing it with the social media guidelines, the topic of today. But we're not only doing policy, we're also showing the benefits and changes for of IT to all our members. So I'm not the representative of the IT industry, more of the users of IT. In this respect, I host the biggest IT business, the e-business event in Austria, which is called E-Day. I may hand over to the browser to show you very brief what I mean with this. If I'm able to hand over to the browser. Probably Will, you can help me with this?
Yeah, underneath the show my screen, there should be a drop-down menu and you can select.
So, Now you should see the website of the eDay. Why I show you to this? Because first, the eDay is the biggest e-business event. It is in German, which is probably the negative side for you, but the positive side for you is that we streamed the last time, which was March this time, 4 tracks live to the internet, and they are also on demand, and that's the interesting thing probably for you, because these presentations are still very interesting, very actual. We had Günter Dück, which is a respective German author and scientist, as a keynote speaker, give a very lively keynote. And there are also topics like social media, for instance, Facebook marketing, Digital for Businesses about social media. We had Google here, who talked about the future of Google and marketing. Some other workshops. Probably you're interested in this. Why I mention this now is that we also made the whole organization of the eDay via the Folio Cloud, and you're already familiar with the layout of the Folio Cloud. Here you can see our eDay 2012 team room. In the Folio Cloud, there is a team of up to 40 people organizing this biggest IT event, where we had 3,000 persons here in person, and more than 12,000 IP addresses followed our web streams. So for me, every year after the eDay is already before the eDay. The next eDay will be on the 7th of March 2013, and we're already working on the program. You can see here again the Folio Cloud, which is very easy to use. It's not really hard for the team members that you need any large introduction to this. It's more or less self-explanatory what they need to do here, as Mr. Meyerhofer already taught to you. You just open the document by double-clicking, edit in the document, and then close the document. It gets uploaded at once by itself. So this is really the big advantage of Folio Cloud, that it's very easy to use. So coming back to my presentation, we also have the longest roadshow in my portfolio, which is called Telefit. We had over 350 stops already since 12 years, visiting 50,000 companies in Austria, and explain them what they can get the benefit out of IT. And naturally, the topic of today, where I showed the social media guidelines. You can all access them via the Folio Cloud. They're already in the 3rd edition, made last time. The biggest update was in March. It's based on studies we did in 2010 and 2011 to monitor the trend with our companies. We've seen that more of half of the companies are already using Web 2.0. So we thought we should give them some advice what to do. If you have a look at the Austrian economy, more than half of our members are one-person enterprises, and more than 95% are SMEs, so small and medium-sized enterprises. They don't have any IT department, they don't have really expert knowledge, and so we try to connect the dots between real experts and the laymen, so to say, in the companies, and give them easy first steps. This was the rationale behind our social media guidelines. We cannot give an individual advice to any company, this is quite sure, so they are meant to be edited in each company individually to get the real individual needs of the company. Our position is that the company shall see the changes through and off social media as a chance, not only of the danger is most in losing controls. They should not only think of Web 2.0 as being Facebook the only medium. There are quite a lot of different tools what are Web 2.0. Think of LinkedIn, think of Xing. There are a lot of platforms, expert platforms, where you can make business-to-business relation, foster them. You can naturally find also new customers and make marketing, but this is just one of the ways you can use Web 2.0. Without individual guidelines, the companies are more or less lost, so they shall develop their own guidelines. The most important thing is to define a goal, what you want to do in social media. There are quite a lot of companies, of bigger Austrian companies, who work in a more or less B2B relation. They don't want to make marketing in Facebook because they will be lost with their products there. For instance, they try to get new employees working for the companies, experts who are really educated very well on the international level. This is naturally possible with platforms like LinkedIn. On the German level, for instance, Xing, Crossing, another personal platform. But there are also lots of other very specialized platforms who can make a business use for you, and it's very important for the companies to define the goals before they go into social media. Otherwise, they cannot measure if they reach their goals naturally. We also have a free electronic advice system on the internet concerning social media guidelines. It's basically the same background, but it individualizes these guidelines for the companies after answering maximum 12 questions. This is done in 5 minutes. You see the respective internet address where you can access this electronic advice system for free. Very short have a look of these social media guidelines on the content. There are 2 parts. The first part is more or less directly for the companies, for the CEOs, give them advice for finding the right social media strategy and suggestions for individual policy. There is a second part which really gives instructions for the employees, what individually in the company should be arranged with the employees, between the company and the employees. And I will give you a short insight in this. 10 tips for the companies. They shall naturally collect status quo first to know and pick. Some of their employees are definitely already using Web 2.0. They shall try to get their expert knowledge and, for instance, ask them what is already said in these media. If they could, for instance, in other platforms find other probable colleagues who could help them. Then define the goals. There's always the question, shall I allow or deny access for the employees during their work time? Companies should make this decision first, then inform their employees and offer them training, then develop the guidelines and arrange an agreement with the employees what they are meant to do in the social media or not to do. The last 3 points are new in the latest version. It's not only necessary to use Web 2.0 externally, as you have seen, for instance, for the program management of the IDE. We do this in internal platforms where only team members can access them. This also gives you a lot of help of communication, and it's very important that these tools offer an easy integration and a big usability. Social media listening is another topic which is more or less new. There are several platforms and offers by companies who can support you detecting if there is any rumors or if there is word of mouth going on about your company. And one of the most crucial topics is to learn the interaction with your customer, to respect their experience with your products, with your services, and learn from this and not think that probably you know better how to use your own product than your customers do. If your customers make a bad experience, probably they will also inform others about it. So you shall learn from bad experiences from your customers and not say your customers are too stupid. The second part of the social media guidelines are these 10 instructions for employees. I don't quote them individually. You can get them on the web. There are 2 parts: legal instructions. there is a second part of netiquette instructions where it's more or less, sorry, it's about this slide, where they're not really hard legal facts, there are more soft facts, but which can help your employees very much of getting the best out of Web 2.0. How we further develop these social media guidelines naturally is already said by the Folio Cloud. And that's for me. If you have any questions concerning the social media guidelines, I would be very happy to answer them. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lager. I actually just had a few questions to ask you, if that's okay, if I keep you on the line.
Sure.
The first one being, what are the major points as to why you think that Folio Cloud is secure? So what makes you think that Folio Cloud is so secure?
Well, naturally we know, as the Chamber is watching quite closely the international scene about the Patriot Act in the US, about privacy in Europe, so it was a decision that this data should stay in Austria, in a country where we know the legal situation, where we know it follows the European privacy rules. It's also very important that the Folio Cloud has security certificates, as you as a layman more or less cannot really experience how it is secure. You have to trust third parties, and Fabersoft is actively going after certificates of trusted partners. And also Fabersoft has a good track record to be a reliable company. Mr. Meyerhoff already mentioned it. They come out of the field of e-government. They do the electronic file system for the federal government in Austria, and not only for the federal government in Austria, also from several parts of our organization which work already with Fabersoft ELAC. So it's a reliable company. There are good technicians working there, and this was the most important thing why we chose Fabersoft. There's also a question how long it did me to set it up. This was quite easy, 5 clicks, and then put in my colleagues who shall also join this Folio Cloud team room. They get an invitation, click on the invitation, and they're there. That's it basically. The interface looks very similar to the normal Windows Explorer, so no need of big explanation. In the first meeting, personal meeting, there were basically not really much questions about the Folio Cloud. Naturally, we had some room. I showed my team members what to do, but this was quite self-explanatory. And if I compare it with before, we worked with an internal wiki system. This is really a big advance in the usability. The team members are much more willing to share the documents in the cloud, as they didn't have to do anything else, as they always do. It's just a different file system, or actually it's basically the same in the Windows Explorer, just another network drive. And this was then the convincing factor that we again will do the eDay 2013 in the cloud. And it's also, you don't take any, by starting, you don't take any financial risk, as there is a freemium model. Just start it for free, and if you don't like it, don't do it anymore. And if you like it, you can, it's very easy to get more space there, sharing more data, and also by plugins, getting more usability out of the Folio Cloud.
Brilliant, thank you. And just another question that's just come in actually. Do you follow any procedures based on certified conservation document laws in Austria?
Yes, there are some. As the Federal Economic Chamber is a public body, we have to follow several some laws concerning document security. where it's actually we are on the safe side of having them only in portable media. This is a quite new regulation, and it's not, or it's actually in the process of getting checked by our legal department how we shall do this in practice. This is not, this examination is not really over, so I cannot make any statement to this. But as I know about the certificates of the FaberSoft Folio Cloud, I guess that this is also possible of sharing it, especially with the levels of the certificates. When you log in, Mr. Meyerhofer showed us that you can secure this by digital IDs, which is the most secure way of identifying a physical person in Austria. And I'm quite sure that this level of certification and identification of person would also meet the Austrian regulations.
Thank you again. The follow-up question to that was, how do you apply these conservation data laws in Folio Cloud?
Well, how this is done is probably explained by FaberSoft themselves. It's quite easy to make a backup of the information which is shared in the Folio Cloud, as the Folio Cloud is a network drive, and you just do copy-paste, and you have it on an internal drive, and then you can backup it wherever you want. Naturally, as this is a freemium service and we use the free part, I cannot lose my responsibility just by using the Folio Cloud. I'm responsible for it as it would be my own media.
Okay, super. Thank you very much, Dr. Lager. Okay, if there are no other questions coming in at this point, then it just leaves me to say thank you to our panelists, to Dr. Lager and to Karl Meyerhofer. We will make the webinar content online during the course of next week. So a recording of the webinar and the presentation slides that you've seen today. And if there are still no further questions, then I'd like to wish you all a good weekend and enjoy the rest of your Friday. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.